at maturity. We can also make it at the time it reaches there, but at expiration, I'm sorry. Independent of the closing price. So if price touches 121, but then 3 months later it finishes at 90, doesn't matter, this option still pays $20. Or it touches 121, but later it finishes at 200. Again, doesn't matter, it pays $20. Once it touches that barrier, option ceases to exist. Okay? That's why it's called up and out. And in this case, it gives a rebate, $20. Basically, it says, okay, looks like this thing is gonna finish in the money. How about I give you 20, you give up the option. That's the contract. Whether or not it goes down to 90 or to 900 after that is immaterial. This means the rebate or the payoff is standard euro payoff if the maximum price during the life is below the barrier. Now, here's what I'm going to do. Max during life. Again, we're doing it weekly, but in practice, we'll do this a lot more precise. So in this replication, the highest it ever reached was 152. On this one, 138. So on this one, rebate will be effective, right? So let's put another column. Rebate. I'm not going to make that parametric, so I'm just going to hard code it. If this max is less than 120, I'm going to call that false, otherwise true. That's, yeah. Price reached 139, there'll be a rebate. No rebate, and so on. So, upon our payoff, and I do something that I normally recommend not to do. I'm going to hard code stuff. If rebate 20, otherwise the euro payoff. It's okay. As you can see, even this is much cheaper. Why? Because this says the maximum this option will ever pay if 120 is breached during the life is 20. Okay. In fact, the maximum it will ever pay is 20. Because if 120 is breached, either at maturity or later, you'll get 20. This is about 40% cheaper. So when you're managing risks and you think that it's not going to exceed those amounts, just to get the option cheaper, and you do these things when you do over-the-counter customized derivatives, you're not going to find derivatives like these traded on an organized exchange. But, let's say I'm managing exchange rate risk and I have views over it. If it ever reaches yen is, or dollar, euro dollar is about 110 now. And I'm concerned that euro could go up. I may be an importer in the US, but I don't think it will reach 120. So I'm going to say if it goes above 120, I'm good with getting only 10 cents. My strike will be 110. So European option, this would be 10, of course. That's why you don't do these things. Yeah, 120. Payout is 10. European option costs 980. 100 call with a 110 call. With a 120 barrier with rebate costs about half. It's a nice. You can add other features. There's this so-called down and out call option. That means I have a 110 call. If the exchange rate ever reaches 95, I'm going to tell the guy who wrote the option, okay, let's forget about it. This thing is not going to go up above 110. So option will simply cease to exist. Again, no rebate because it's in the out of the money portion. Well, I could add that feature too. I'm not going to now, but the idea would be exactly the same. Find the minimum price during the life of the option. If the price always remained above the barrier, standard payout. If it went below the barrier, option will have zero payout regardless of where it finishes. These are ways to reduce price of options. I could do similar stuff to, Asian payoffs. If the average ever reached 120 during the life, moving average, I'm going to let it finish with a rebate. Or below 95, it ceases to exist. But all of these can be handled in the Monte Carlo framework. That's kind of the point I'm trying to make. And on Wednesday, we're going to actually do a very formal VBA function for Asian options. And right now, I kind of got it started where we're valuing the option at the time we create the option. But on an Asian option, once the option is created, there is another thing that's moving around, the average until then, okay? Because the option pays off based on the average during the life of the option. But, this option was created 6 months ago. During the last 6 months, there was a certain average. Then the option, let's say that average was 90. For this option to finish in the money, assuming a strike of 100, the average over the next 6 months should be above 110. So that also matters. So we'll get it done based on an average until then parameter as well. Okay? Because you may want to trade those options. You buy an option, yes, these are customized. Investment banks almost always give you liquidity. You say, okay, I bought this, but I want to sell it back. They're going to give you a price. Or, you can go to another investment bank, they'll price it for you. And that price is going to depend upon average until then, among other things. All right? Let's stop here today because I'm sure a lot of you guys are very from Super Bowl last night. I am, but not from Super Bowl. I left Lexington at noon on Thursday. I drove to San Diego. I was there Saturday, 10 a.m. and took flight Sunday morning. I was at home around 1 o'clock a.m. That's why I didn't want to